Sorry, guys. A few technical issues there. I think we're back up and running. Yeah, that was interesting. The feed just went all wonky. I think we're back and good here. Apologize for that. Yeah, yeah. And I know some of my gamer brethren are waiting for me to fulfill some of my gaming duties on the streaming side, and for that, I apologize. Um, Man, it seems like, come in the evenings, I've just been literally beaten to death with job number one, job number two, and kids and all that other stuff. So if you can relate, I'm not trying to make excuses, but you guys know if you stream, right, you got to be in the right mood to stream. You got to be in the right mindset because you're basically a host, and you don't want to come off negative, right? And like my good friend Gary always says, if you don't have anything good to say, you probably shouldn't be saying that. However, there's a lot of messed up stuff in the world, right? That's part of my motivation, I think, right now is at least trying to make a difference, right? Maybe just a small difference, maybe stepping up and taking a little bit of risk to help somebody else out or help a group of people out that might not been able to help themselves or might just be misinformed, right? I think a lot of the it seems like I'm getting it on all sides now too, right? I end up on one thread talking about Bitcoin, right, with somebody who's never touched it calling me a fraud, right? And then I have another thread who's somebody who knows very much about Bitcoin, who's been following it for 10 years and knows everything about the infrastructure's worried because they're worried that governments are going to use Bitcoin against people, right? Because of the privacy aspects of it. There's just a lot of people worried, right? But like that Snowden video, it's pinned to my Twitter profile page now. Watch it because it like hit me at the exact right time when I wasn't so sure if I should be opening my mouth. Especially just getting kind of thrown into the mix with a guy like Pulte. That guy has resources, right? He's got 1 million followers on Twitter. Clearly, there are people willing to defend him, even though they might be misinformed about what he's actually doing, right? Again, I don't want to focus on that man. He's not even worth my time, really. But I'm certainly not going to pretend that what he's doing is okay, because it's not, right? It's not, guys. He is literally data mining for profit. And if he wants to say that, right, and put it on his profile page that I am data mining, I am literally shit drilling honest people for data in the name of money, right? And I might give a few people some cash on these contests, then I'd be all for it. Why not, right? There's plenty of other people doing the same damn thing, so why is he special? Well, I'll tell you why he's special. Because he thinks he can just railroad people and get away with it, right? He thinks he can just dox people. He thinks he can sick his, minions on whoever he wants, and we're just gonna go away quietly because we're scared, right? Nah. Barking up the wrong tree with that one, buddy. That's what decentralization and anonymity is all about. Again, I know that it's not hard to, break through that, but you're going to find, if you go down that path, sir, that there's a lot of people that are not going to put up with your bullshit. So I'll leave it at that. It's not a threat. It's just the truth. And maybe I should find a hobby that's a little less dangerous and maybe more profitable than the truth. But you got to have some standards somewhere, right? You got to have some ideals. I haven't, made it somewhere in life because I'm the smartest or the most intelligent or the most talented or the most pretty looking. I mean, I'm pretty good looking, but I'm just kidding. I've got somewhere in life because I was willing to roll up my sleeves, because I'm not afraid to push buttons. I'm not afraid to say no or yes, right? In the right circumstances. There's a lot we could talk about on a more personal level, and maybe I will do some of that someday. But I wanted to, I'm going to kind of keep it light and just share my experiences right now, right? Shit, the world is just crazy, right? I didn't even talk about the spat with Amazon, right? So I live in an area with a, let me go back to the talk show here, because I have gone through the charts and I really don't even care anymore. If you guys want to look at something, though, I'm happy to chart anything. I've looked at all kinds of stocks this week, everything in between. So happy to chart away. Maybe all right. So let me just back up. Amazon, right? Everybody knows who Amazon is. One of the biggest corporations in the world, probably will be. Has exponentially, grown in the last 10 years. Has now taken market share across entire retail. Put large amount of businesses completely bankrupt and out of business, right? And those aren't just the big box stores that had high overhead and low efficiency, right? They probably deserve to be crushed, but those are the mom and pops too. We all know that, right? If you live in these communities, you see it happening. It's just like kind of like Walmart, right? Only this is different now because Amazon's competing with Walmart. So there's even less market share for the mom and pop, for the small stores, for the local people that you want to support, right? That we try to support. Those decisions are being removed from our economy. And I know there's people on both sides of the fence. You don't want to make villains out of rich, successful people, but at the same time, some of those rich, quote unquote, successful people are villains, right? I consider Jamie Dimon one of those people. He's pretty much the highest up on my shit list, right? I wouldn't even put Bill Pulte, on that top 10, quite honestly. He's just in my face now because, our paths have crossed for whatever reason. And I know he knows who I am. You know what I mean? I made a couple of comments, basically challenged him to talk about what he's doing, which should be illegal, and I know he's got friends in high places or whatever, but, does that impress me or worry me? No. These people are just people. And I think that's what you guys got to remember. Bill Gates, just a person. He might be a rich person, but he's just a person. Jack Dorsey, guy from St. Louis. I know the high school he went to, right? I mean, all of these people started out somewhere. The difference is some of them, like myself, came from nothing, right? I mean, we're self-made, right? Bill Pulte's not one of those guys. He is, however, a genius. He's brilliant. He's smart. Go look at his page right now. I'm not going to pull it up here because I don't even want to fucking promote the man. I want to kind of distance myself from some of that while still educating the public about what he's actually doing. But he's literally, broadcasting messages of people, quote unquote, hating against him because we're telling the truth about what he's actually doing, and using that reverse psychology by preaching love and respect and all of this other garbage. Like I can't even go look at that page without wanting to throw up, right? And that's what we were talking about, right? I'm not going to pretend like what he's doing is okay. I'm not going to sit up here and pretend that supporting someone like him is all right. It's not, right? He's lying to people, right? He's not being transparent. He's a fraud. And there's a lot of people out there like him, and not just on Twitter. You know what I mean? Think about large scale, right? Think about what's going on in these big companies right now, like Amazon. Amazon's basically in a boom or bust situation. It's either they boom and take over the world, or they bust or get broken up at this point. Because, I mean, they clearly have a monopoly over shipping, online right now. Now, is that going, how is that going to work out? I don't know. But Google's the same way. Clearly Google has taken over the entire market share of almost everything involved in data at this point. I mean, right now, right, through this microphone, right, broadcasting on Twitch, Amazon is recording this somewhere, and it will be there forever, and that data could be used against me someday. I don't know. Who knows, right? But that's what the government is doing. They're just literally, they don't care if the data is good or bad or what it actually means anymore. They're just storing it to be used later for whatever intents and purposes that they want. Pulte's just data mining straight up, right in people's faces, right in clear view, and not telling people that he's doing that. And it's not acceptable. Again, I'm not going to pretend like that's okay. So I'm going to keep speaking my opinion in my voice, and, people either choose to agree and help other people do something about it so that we can educate other people and let them know that, hey, if you want to participate in his contest, fine. Just know that he's taking your data. So it's costing you something, right? It might not be a dollar amount, but he's taking something from you and giving a few people money in return. So you can call that whatever you want, but it's not philanthropy, right? Philanthropy is giving something away because you want to, because you expect nothing in return. That's philanthropy. What else is going on in the news? So let's flip back to our cryptos. Next chart, pretty much the same. Volume, 24-hour volume on MEX right now, 1.5 billion overnight, so lower. We did kind of dump. I don't want to say dump, but a little down move to this 9,200 range where we're at now. It's definitely rangy. A lot of people will tell you that the longer this thing ranges out, the more chance it has of going down, because usually the moves up are pretty sudden. I don't know if I buy into that or not. This is an EMEA line that actually looks like it's being respected right now, kind of trading on the top of it. So that would be your 100 EMEA. I don't know. We can go look at any of those if you guys want to as well, but no reason to. So you can see our jump up in Tezos, 25% in the last 24 hours. So definitely caught that volume pump. Nothing else on the list of top 20 jumps out. Oh, Stellar had their coin burn last week. If you're holding the coin, great. If you're not, are you concerned that somebody can literally just like burn half their supply or add to it if they want to? I don't know. There's a lot of altcoins that fall into the same buckets, right? If they're going to be used and have utility someday, they might have value, but they're definitely nothing like Bitcoin. So don't confuse them. But if you have any questions about that, I'm happy to answer that. I've been talking to a lot of people online that have no exposure to Bitcoin whatsoever, which I really love doing. I am happy to change gears. I'm getting really good at it. I try to relate my commentary and my subject matter based on my audience. That's something that I was very bad at for many years while I was kind of getting my feet wet, learning how to use social media to actually help people instead of just yelling at them. It's all coming together though. And, I have a pretty big support base, which, again, helps me put my boots on and wade through shit every day and try to stay optimistic. So here I am, broadcasting my pirate signal, into the matrix and trying to do some good, right? And I'm going to keep doing that because it's what I want to do. I'm not getting paid. Quite the opposite, actually. Hopefully, I can find a little niche or start earning some cryptocurrency somehow instead of just putting myself at risk and spending money. But hey, got to take some risks in this world if you're gonna get somewhere sometimes. So, that was the DXY. Here's the old Pulte company. Boy, I'd love to see that thing just crash. Not wishing bad things upon anybody. And again, if you're holding that stock, I'd be happy to do a full analysis on what's going on there. Pretty big gap on Tesla. Apple cruising to these new highs. That's another stock that I can't personally, from an analysis standpoint, get around, but clearly it's performing. I don't get the whole non-open source thing. And I know people have explained it well, and you know what, Apple's in control of our data, blah blah blah, but it's not. They do the same things, right? They sell data to third-party providers and use that data for their own systems that feed off of their internal databases and stuff. So they're not really doing anything different than a Google or a Facebook. The only difference is their technology and their code is not open source. I don't know though. Awful lot of pretty loyal Apple customers that keep that going too. So we could probably make arguments on both sides of that fence. But again, I don't have any interest in it personally, so I'm happy to just kind of make my disclaimer from an analyst standpoint. Definitely all-time highs and cruising. So if you're holding that stock or it's a part, you know what? I should say I do have an interest in it because it's in damn near every fund that you can possibly own or hold these days. So I do have some sort of interest in Apple. I just I don't own the stock outright or anything like that. Canopy Growth. Oh yeah, so these are our pot stocks. May have found a bottom on that. So we'll go talk to my boy Kiyosaki because he's looking for bottoms on these pot stocks that have gotten crushed in the last few weeks, especially with a lot of the news around vaping. And that's actually a whole nother topic. Altria owns a big portion of Juul, and the word on the street, upon that I've heard from some pretty savvy investors, is they might actually be doing that smear campaign themselves to drive down the Juul price so that they can buy a bigger market share of the company. They already own like 30%. You know what? That's just so logical and diabolical that I believe it. I don't know. I'm just going to do this. I'm an analyst. I connect dots. This is what I do. Is it right or wrong? We'll find out. But when something is undeniably logical like that, it's like Occam's razor, right? And the easiest explanation is normally the right one. You know what I mean? Just like Bill Pulte. You think that guy really cares about helping people, or you think he cares about putting money in his own pocket? What's the most logical? Gotcha. Gotcha on that one, didn't I? We will keep an eye on that one. This is the Alternative Harvest ETF. We'll watch that money flow. We'll watch and see if it holds this temporary local bottom around 18 bucks. Boeing, we already looked at. Bank of America, another bank stock. Man, I don't know if that's an all-time high or if it's pretty darn close. Man, I just, if you're a retail investor, are you buying banks right now? Apparently somebody is. I know that Buffett has a stake in this now. You know, he's getting permission to like increase his stake, but then he's also holding some ungodly amount of cash on the sideline, right? I've heard different theories about that too. And it's not that he's waiting for the dip. It's literally that he thinks that the dollar is actually going to keep strengthening. So it's almost like he's holding dollars, expecting them to increase in value. All right, man. You know, you're Warren Buffett and I'm just Biff. So we'll see. I mean, every bank stock I've looked at looks like trash to me, but what do I know? We can look at any of those too, though, if you guys want to. Maybe we'll look at the index on the financials. Square announced $150 million worth of Bitcoin sold again last quarter, on top of their $200 million in normal revenue. So their revenue numbers are good. Will the stock price affect that, or be affected by that? I don't know. We'll see. This channel is clearly still stuck in a downtrend. Pretty big gap here around this 73 to about 78 range. And it looks like it may have, bounced off the bottom of this channel and possibly found some support here around $60. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that one, because this is one that's obviously gone parabolic. I mean, literally just shot up in the last 2 years. So, if you're looking to long that one long term, you're kind of trying to figure out where your best entry is. Definitely keep an eye on that one. I like any sort of Bitcoin cryptocurrency play in a legitimate company. If you're not familiar, Square owns the Cash App, which is by far one of the best applications, especially if you're a user in the United States looking to pick up some quick Bitcoin. Again, it does require know your customer, so you do have to sign your life away. The government's going to know you're holding some Bitcoin. If that worries you, that is a risk. I'm not going to pretend that it's not. So happy to chat about it. Happy to talk about it. This is what I love doing, guys. Busting down walls, misconceptions, giving my opinion. That's what analysts do. Hopefully it's objective and unbiased. Some of those are not going to be, right? Especially coming from my camp. But the other things we haven't talked about are some of the political stuff I've gotten dragged into. And again, if you've been following me on Twitter, I feel sorry for you, because I have just been a tweet storm lately, and some of it's very bipolar. But the whole Blizzard stance with, their player that they decided to go ahead and ban and take his money away, the BlizzCon last week, a lot of protesters, free Hong Kong. I try not to be too political. I don't take stances on political parties or affiliations. But at the same time, I'm not going to pretend that, groups that want to take away my freedoms and my freedom of speech is acceptable. That's a personal decision, a personal choice. Again, that really shouldn't be involved in business, but Blizzard made that their business, right? It wasn't people like me that would, that care about freedom of speech and that are willing to go ahead and go against companies like Blizzard, and anyone else for that matter who doesn't think our civil liberties are important or are in jeopardy right now, because they certainly are. I mean, if you want to go look at China and how it's automated and how literally you can't jaywalk down the street without facial recognition, putting you on a board to shame you for jaywalking, right? It goes way beyond that. This artificial intelligence is so far advanced now. If you've seen the movie like Minority Report, right, where the precogs can, tell if you're going to do a crime beforehand, it's not quite like that, but artificial intelligence can look at your face, right, and tell if you're in a good mood or not, right? They're already installing these things in schools, basically tracking everything. Now, Google just bought out Fitbit, so they're going to get all of your health data out of your Fitbit. And these companies are global. This is corporatism at its finest. And these corporations are full steam ahead, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, they have been designed to do this. And a lot of smart people over the course of several decades have helped these corporations, including myself, grow to the point of where they're at today, right? They are operating with a horrifying precision, literally doing exactly what they're designed to do. I don't have a lot of good feelings about the short term on some of that stuff because a lot of people are very comfortable, live inside their bubbles, and are not willing to get involved or even kind of look at some of that stuff or have any sort of opinion about corporations may have become a little too big, right? Maybe a little bit too involved in our politics, maybe a little bit too involved in government. But the reality of the situation from my standpoint is it's completely out of control, right? So it's just one giant machine. It's all connected from my standpoint, right? The corporations, the politicians, the money, it's literally just one big homogenous global soup right now. The only way that you can vote, right, or let a company like Activision, right, that's Blizzard, that's also got a stake in Tencent, Tencent owns a portion of them, right, which is very much a Chinese company involved with communist Chinese affairs and interests, right? And those are very different from my interests. However, my interests don't necessarily matter if other people's interests aren't the same. And corporate interests are based on the interests of the corporation, right? What is best for the corporation? What is best for the model? How do we profit, right? So again, they're working like they're supposed to, guys. I mean, stock market's at all-time highs. Nobody gives a damn as long as they're getting rich, right? If you don't have a portfolio or you don't own any sort of portfolio right now, you're basically just being bled dry by inflation. Now, even though the dollar is strengthening, clearly, in the case of the United States, we just keep printing more money, right? So eventually your purchasing power has to go down if they continue to print. Something like this year alone, they've actually printed more money than the entire market cap of Bitcoin. Again, I'm not a gloom and doomer about the stock market. I think there's a medium kind of, slow transition. I do definitely believe that we are witnessing a revolution in currency and money. Definitely a line in the sand moving to more digital means. But it's important for the crazies like us, right, to make sure that that movement ends up in the right format, right, that goes in the right way, that's implemented correctly. Because make no mistake about it, guys, cryptocurrencies could actually be used against people in worse ways than fiat currencies are today, right? Fiat currency is extremely difficult to trace, right? People who money launder large amounts of capital through banks right now understand the systems better than the people that have designed them, or are the same people who have designed them and been paid for that information. They know how to layer transactions, right? How to fly just below the radar to make sure that they don't piss anybody off, right? And they've been doing that for years and years and years and years. So the majority of money laundering and illegal activities is still done with cash. You can't do some of those things with Bitcoin. Now there are some currencies that are anonymous, right, and don't have public information on blockchains, and maybe there will be fungibility inside of Bitcoin someday, or a layer added, or solutions put on there so that those transactions aren't public. But as it is right now, every transaction that's ever been made from anyone's wallet to anyone else's wallet is stored on the blockchain, It's on the Bitcoin network. You can go look up any of them. They're there forever, right? Well, that presents a unique set of challenges for corporate finance, right? I'm not going down that rabbit hole either. If there's someone watching this or someone ends up on my feed that works in corporate finance that actually wants to have a chat offline with me, I'd love to do that. But from my standpoint, accounting has moved away from balance sheets and traditional bean counting to cooked books and presenting a picture in a way that fulfills the need of the corporation and is not actually a representative of their finances. And if you try to value a stock based on what they're reporting or what their earnings are or any of that garbage right now, good luck. I don't think that kind of stock picking even exists anymore. Now you should be using some of those, ratios and earnings and revenues, obviously, in your analysis. But guys, this trading stuff, it's automated now. It's algorithmic, which might be why you don't see too much movement other than up on a lot of these things. Is retail buying this stuff? No. These are big corporations. These are big entities with lots of cash that have been sitting on the sidelines for the last 10 years buying these things and keeping them propped up. I think there was $1 trillion in corporations buybacks last year, right? So, it's the big are getting bigger, and they're banking on continuation in the stock market. So if they're smart money, right, retail money is kind of turtling up, well, what's going to end up happening? I don't know. But I'll certainly be here broadcasting, my opinions, and we'll look at everything that comes in our path and try to make logical evaluations and deductions based on facts, information that we do have available. One of the worst things I see people do daily is make problems worse by guessing. Let's not guess. Let's go with what we have. This is 10 cent, which that one's changing. That's the Chinese version, traded on the HKEX. But I believe there's another stock traded on the US side. I don't know. This is really the trend I want to kind of watch, though. So, maybe 10 cent has actually topped out. Currently moving back up to go ahead and test that 346 mean of range. Again, that's not volume weighted or adjusted. So that's literally just the high and the low in the middle of it. That's definitely a company that I have chosen personally to not support anymore. So basically anything that they're involved in, I'm staying away from. That includes all of the Supercell games and the microtransaction games and your iOS games and your Clash of Clans and Clash Royale and all of that stuff that I even see some of my friends in the mainstream playing and kind of catching on. I don't want to consider late, but I mean, what, Clash of Clans, I started playing that like 10 years ago, right? So I've personally chose to put the ban hammer on them, right? It's my personal decision because I don't like the stance they're taking against censorship and freedoms. And I certainly don't like pretending that it's okay to take something away from someone because of their own personal opinion about what's going on anywhere in the world. And I know there's rules against that, right? And I'm sure he had to sign something in his contract or some sort of waiver somewhere that says you're not allowed to talk politics or take a stance. And that's fine, and if he broke the rules, maybe he should have been punished, but it was the way they handled it. Banning him and taking his prize money away, literally just a snap knee-jerk reaction, and then pretending that it was going to go away and that the public didn't care. That was the backlash, guys. That's why I got upset. Not because of any of the other stuff. And, you know, I've even seen people kind of take the opposite stance. Well, he broke the rules. Well, he did. He certainly did. And he probably should have been punished accordingly, but was basically taking the man's job away and everything that he knew and supported and taking his money away. Was that an acceptable punishment for the infraction? No, that's personal opinion. And in my personal opinion, no. It was literally a knee-jerk reaction to support global interests, right? Much of which is, again, Chinese, and there's a lot of people in Asia that game, right? And that play games and that play World of Warcraft. I just thought it was interesting that they took that stance, right? And it blew up in their face. And I kind of enjoyed it. I'm not going to lie. I kind of enjoyed seeing a company reap the consequences of their own decisions. It was nice. It was refreshing for a change to see them take a stance against something that I don't agree with and actually have negative repercussions for. Because I think that's part of what we're talking about on a global scale with these huge companies right now, right? Is there accountability? You know, do these people care about even their own freedoms, or are they just so wrapped up in the money and the, you know, fancy houses and cars and keeping up with the Joneses and driving, you know, their Bentleys and stuff that they just don't care anymore? I don't know. I don't know, guys, but I'm techie enough and know enough about data mining, and I've been involved in enough software projects in my time to know that the direction that we're heading right now as a species is extremely scary. The only thing I can preach is being informed. Push buttons, guys. Ask questions. Sometimes they're the tough ones, right? And don't be scared, right? Don't be intimidated. Don't be worried about somebody, you know, getting in your way, because everything that's in between your ears, no one can take away from you. You know what I mean? Everything that you learn, you take with you forever. And that's something that I've learned, right, in my life. Everything that I come across, I've tried to absorb like a sponge, right? And good and bad, you know, good experiences and bad experiences, right? And they're only mistakes, right, if you don't learn from them. If you didn't learn something from them, then it's a mistake, right? We're not in control of our own thoughts, but we are in control of how we react to them. Okay? So that's a good segue to leave you guys with. And you know, if you've been following me or you guys know me personally, you know I'm a very, very optimistic person. You know, I'm here not because I have to be. Do I have some expectations about possibly, you know, getting involved in something where I could draw some sort of income and still help people and still preach positive messages and still try to teach people about technology and finance, responsible finance? Absolutely. But is responsible finance popular? No. You know, people want to get rich quick. That's what's popular, right? And you can even kind of look at some of my feeds, right? Going on there preaching about, you know, Pulte scams or trying to help somebody, you know, or broadcasting certain things that, you know, someone could learn from, you know, I get crickets on. You know, I post some pictures of Lambos and race cars and stuff like that that is more interesting to the general public, and people are all over it. So again, that's not saying anything bad or negative. It's just kind of how social media works today, right? It's about quick little hits of dopamine and information, and we've all become accustomed to it, myself included. You know, I even just try to get away from my devices a few hours a day, and that's becoming extremely difficult for me right now. And I like to think that I have some self-control. So I can totally relate. I think that's going to be a problem for a lot of people in the future. I think that, you know, you're going to have addiction counselors for social media and time spent on that sort of thing, just like we do now for drug addictions, guys. I mean, it's the writing's on the wall for some of that stuff. So I took it upon myself, right, to jump in the fray. And I'm the first to admit that I did it wrong for many, many months, probably longer than that, right? Just yelling into the void. But now I feel like our energies are a little bit more focused. And again, I don't have it all figured out yet. I have a lot of enterprises and future plans that I am super excited about, that are going to take a lot of time, right? But that's what I like, right? Building things slowly, small little changes, little bricks adding slowly over time. That's how you build change. That's how you drive change. That's how you build a foundation for the future, right? And that didn't really become important to me, or as important to me, I guess I should say, until I had kids. And I don't want to leave them in this giant bucket of poo, right? I mean, it's that simple, right? So maybe I can do something. Maybe I can broadcast a message. Maybe I can teach people about data mining, right? And what con men are doing to people out there, right? Maybe, I can just sway one person's opinion about, Bitcoin's not really for terrorists, right? I mean, Bitcoin is Bitcoin, guys. People are the frauds, right? Bitcoin's just Bitcoin. It's a mathematical, equation. It's money that exists out on the internet. It's a protocol, right? And it's not going anywhere. Anyone can use it. It's a public money system. There's nothing fraudulent about it, right? Now it has a very low market cap, and there's a lot of people speculating on it, and there's a lot of scammers in the cryptocurrency space. Ugh, I hate that word. In the cryptocurrency industry, if you want to call it that. But those are people, people are the source of that evil, right? And there's more good people than there are those people, right? There's more of us than there are of them. Unfortunately, a lot of us don't want to speak up. We don't want to go against the status quo. We don't want to swim against the grain. I understand that. Right? If there's no personal gain, why would you want to do something? Right? I totally get it. I totally understand. And for many years, I was like that as well. I didn't even have a Twitter account until a few years ago, right? I hated social media. I was not involved in it. I feel dirty anytime I put a picture of my face or my kids' faces on Facebook, because I know what they're doing with it. But now I'm here with a pseudonymous, I don't want to say brand, because I'm not really drawing any income off of it, but I'm trying to get this brand going, to at least get that message out there, to let other people know that there's a lot of people like us out there that, that have a different opinion, that don't necessarily would agree with what is going on in the world. And politics aside, right? It's all about that big picture. And if you want to drive change, right, or you might agree or disagree with certain things that a company is doing, it's actually pretty easy to drive change. I kind of put that on Twitter. You don't have to change your whole life, right? If you want to go into a David versus Goliath situation, do it, right? Don't be scared. Make one small change in your life, right, that might affect the overall outcome of that situation, and then group up with other people, because there's probably other people doing the same thing. And collectively, right, when you group together, that's when you can drive change, right? That's when all of a sudden 10,000 Davids go against Goliath, right? And that's why someone like me, right, can broadcast a couple of messages about someone like Pulte and maybe drive some change. Because I'll tell you right now, Ty Lee already has affected this guy. I mean, he's in this guy's head. He hates him. He's already changed around several things, in his quote unquote contests, right? Because of one person. All right. And now there's other people that are getting involved, and we're bandwagoning together to at least, let him know that we're not going to just fall for that bullshit, right? That, I don't have any problems with him running contests and being rich or getting richer or whatever the hell it is, just be honest, be transparent, tell people what you're doing. That's it, man. That's all you got to do. And if you want to jump on my, I'll have to get some promo stuff too going. But if you want to jump on my Twitter page, we're doing pop missions where we're basically going to set up our own network to be 100% anonymous, operating basically token-based decentralized network. And we'll get real philanthropists involved and actually start helping some people with what they might need. We're not going to throw money at people, but if you got a legitimate story and you need something in particular, then that's what philanthropists do, right? They hook that up. So I'd love for other people to get involved in that project. Again, it's very early on. We're just in the we have a problem and here's what we can do to provide a solution to that problem. It's still very much in that phase. So it's going to take time and we're going to do it right, slowly and methodically. So if you'd like to check that out or you want some more information about it, please do so. It's not on my Twitch page yet, but it is on my Twitter page. Guys, let me know too, if there's any just charting or market stuff that you guys want to do. I'll try to get some more, Twitter feeds going. But I love drawing charts. Some people kind of say that, like, what are you, a huge dork? But yeah, I am, actually. I like drawing charts. I like making them look, I like trying to, tell a story with a chart and making them look nice and appealing so that other people will look at them and maybe get some information out of them or at least an opinion. And I try to make them unbiased. So, I'm happy to draw that. And there's lots of other people, on crypto Twitter or out there in the Twitter finance world that do similar things. So get multiple opinions. Nothing wrong with that. So with that, we'll jump back on our Bitcoin here, and I'll probably do a Sunday night update. Super looking forward to Forgotten Artifacts. I gotta mention that because that's just gonna be a lot of fun. The next couple of releases on Forgotten Artifacts are going to be with the town and interaction in the town, so you can actually start questing for items. Oh, super cool. And Cliff basically said that Forgotten Artifacts is going to be a 4-player co-op that he plans, so we'll be able to jump on Twitch and have 4 people playing at the same time, talking and jump in with other people. So again, I'm not trying to hide from Twitch. I'm definitely not supporting any Call of Duty. I'm not supporting any Activision. I quit playing World of Warcraft Classic. I'm not going to participate in any of that stuff. And it's nothing against Twitchers or you guys doing what you do. I love you guys. Please keep doing what you're doing. I hope that you don't, think of me negatively because of what I'm doing. But at the same time, I hope you can think about it objectively as well. And that's probably a good segue to make. Guys, take care. It's been nice chatting with you. And I haven't even looked at Twitter, so I apologize. I just kind of wanted to get this broadcast out there. So much going on, and I feel like it's been too long since we've done a broadcast. So glad we could get this one on paper or on video, so to speak. And again, if you have any questions for me, always available. I'm not difficult to find, and we're gonna try to keep it real, but at the same time educational. You know what I mean? So there's no reason to be worried about certain things, right? But wow, what kind of music did I just pull up here? What is this like? That's some relaxing stuff. Maybe we'll skip through that one and see what else we got. Yeah, that's a good one. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you as always. Make sure to tip your waiters and waitresses. Get out there on Twitch, let people know that you appreciate them. Hit those likes and subscribes. If there's anything I can do as far as content, if you like what I said, if you don't, let me know. Guys, take care of yourself wherever you are in the world today. I hope you have a great day. Make it productive, positive, and take care. We'll see you next time.